We're now ready to talk about equations that take more than one step to solve. And we'll start by taking a look at the following example. We want to solve this equation for x. 4x plus 11 equals 35. Now remember, when there was just one thing happening to x, and obviously there's more than one thing happening to x on the left side of the equation, right? There's addition and multiplication. But for now, for the previous problems, I should say, when there was just one thing happening, we said, well, what is that thing that's happening? How do we undo it? Now here, notice there are two things going on. First, x is being multiplied by 4, right? Second, 11 is being added to x. So we have to undo two things, the multiplication by 4 and the addition of 11. And of course, the way that we would undo addition is by subtraction. The way that we would undo multiplication is by division. It doesn't matter, mathematically speaking, what you're going to try to undo first. So it does matter, however, in terms of what is more convenient. Let's consider this expression 4x plus 11. We could subtract 11 from it, it's perfectly legal, or you could choose to divide it by 4, also perfectly legal. Which one's easier? Let's see. Well, if we subtract 11, we just have like terms here that cancel each other out, leaving us 4x. What would happen if instead of subtracting 11, we divided by 4? Well, remember that here the distributive property applies because you have division distributed over addition. You really have 4x divided by 4 plus 11 divided by 4. You can certainly undo that multiplication, leaving you an x, but 11 over 4 is just a fraction, and you would then have to undo this addition of 11 over 4 to get to x. Could you do it? Yes, you could. But which one would you rather work with? This expression or this expression? I feel like the expression 4x is much easier to work with. And so as a rule of thumb, and it doesn't always turn out to be correct, but 99 times out of 100, it is easier to get rid of the addition, to undo the addition or subtraction, than it is to undo the multiplication or division, precisely because of the problem of distributing. You're not just dividing the 4x by 4, you're dividing the 11 by 4. So my advice to you, whenever you see something like this, first subtract 11 from both sides, undo the addition. So 4x plus 11 is what we have. We're going to subtract 11. Of course, that means that we should subtract 11 from 35, right? That was the right side of the expression. As we said earlier, cancel the plus and minus 11. And 35 minus 11 is 24. And now we are ready to undo the multiplication by 4. And remember, we undo multiplication by dividing. So we will divide 4x by 4, and we will divide 24 by 4. Undoing the 4's, x equals 24 divided by 4, which is 6. And so the answer is 6. Just like in the previous problems, notice it's not terribly difficult to plug 6 in for x and see that 4 times 6 is 24. And when we add 11, we get 35. So 6 does happen to be the solution. So just to recap, if you have a choice to try to undo addition or subtraction, or to undo the multiplication or division, The rule of thumb is try to undo the addition or subtraction. It is almost always easier. Okay, let's take a look at another similar example. Negative 3/2x plus 8 equals negative 7. Again, we have x that's being multiplied by this number negative 3/2, and we have also addition of 8. It's much easier to undo the addition of 8. So we will subtract. So we have negative 3/2x plus 8. That's our left side. We will subtract 8 and equals negative 7 minus 8. Minus 8, we will subtract 8 from the right side, right? We subtract 8 from both sides. The 8 plus and minus 8s cancel, leaving us negative 3/2x equals negative 7. Oh, negative 7 minus 8 is negative 15. And now we have to undo the multiplication by this fraction, negative 3/2. I'll continue that over here. Negative 3/2x, right? So we want to divide by negative 3/2. If you, in one step, say that you multiply by the reciprocal, that's also great. In this case, I'm going to write this out in detail. We have negative 15 that we will also divide by negative 3/2. The multiplying and dividing by negative 3/2 cancels, leaving us x. And we should perform this division. I'll do it up top. Negative 15, which is negative 15/1. We will multiply it by the reciprocal. That's negative 2/3, right? We flip that second fraction. And now we multiply across. Before multiplying across, we could cross cancel because 15 and 3 are both divisible by 3. 15 divided by 3 is 5, and 3 divided by 3 is 1. And now we're ready to multiply. Well, negative times negative is positive, and 2 times 5 is 10/1, which is just 10. And so our answer is 10. Again, it doesn't take too much time to test it if we wanted to. 3 times 10 is 30, divided by 2 is 15. So negative 15 plus 8 is negative 7. You can pause the video at this point and try it yourself if you require more time. Also, again, if you're still struggling with this cross canceling, I suggest that you Google the topic to make sure that you're comfortable. We're going to be using it a lot in the future.